pelvis. So think about moving the skin and the muscles of your lower abdomen up as if you wanted to tuck them in underneath your rib cage. And then think about that same space. It's almost being like a diaphragm, and it's lifting up away from the floor towards your lower back. And then really try and keep that zipper of the pelvis, that fullness through the low back as you straighten out your spine. We're going to bring our hands onto blocks. Our hands are shoulders width apart. Use your fingers, use your palms. We did 4 last time, I think. Yeah, good. Have the blocks as wide as your mat. Tall people, you want to be right at the top of your mat. You want to make sure your knees are right underneath your hips, so your thighs are creating a 90-degree angle with the floor, and you want to tuck your toes under, getting a nice good grip with the toes. Push your hands into the blocks like you want to push the blocks through the floor, and reach around the blocks and grip the blocks with your fingers, which helps to strengthen your hands, your palms, your wrists, your forearms. And then step that right foot forward. It's very, very important that we move the foot forward enough so that the right shin is creating a 90-degree angle with the floor. It has to be perpendicular with the floor. It's nice that you can take the block and just sort of measure that. Make sure that you can serve a cup of tea on top of the block, and then bring the block back down. Check out that shin. Make sure the shin doesn't move. Find a straight line from big toe to heel, and then walk the left knee back as far as you can without the right shin moving. But make sure the right hip and left hip are equal distance from the front of the mat and equal distance from the floor. One more time, push into your hands. Get a good tucking of the left toes. Center the left heel over the toes, and then push into that left heel to straighten out the left knee and let it lift, but the right shin doesn't move at all. So the right knee, right shin doesn't move forward or back. Press the hands down into the blocks. Pull the right femur back, left femur forward, really squaring the hips with the top of the mat. Make sure the right knee is directly over the right ankle. Keep pushing the blocks through the floor to engage the shoulders. Great. So Doug, the back foot has to go back so the shin is totally straight. Good. Nice. Really feel that heel center. Sit the right butt, right thigh down. Lift the left thigh up. It's better not to sacrifice the form of the legs than it is to lift the hands. So only if you can keep your butt as low as you have it, and only if you can keep the shin level with, perpendicular with the floor, then one hand comes up, other hand comes up. Zip up your belly, fire up the legs. Legs shouldn't change. Maybe you can start to bring your torso back. And again, if it's still there, maybe you can bring those arms up. Hands are shoulders width apart. It's like you're holding onto a block with your hands and lifting up. And just do what you can. Fixing your gaze on one point and resisting the urge to fidget if you can help it. Let's just take 5 more breaths here. Once those 5 breaths are complete, you can bring your hands down onto the block. Check out the right shin. Again, the right shin shouldn't move at all. Should stay perpendicular with the floor as you reach the left knee as far back as you can to bring the left knee down. You're going to point the left foot, pushing into the top of the foot, and then almost like you're pulling the toes to you to create an upward dog foot so that the ankle lifts. So the big toe to baby toe roots, and then you just sort of pull the toes to you to lift the ankle, and that helps to take the weight out of the knee. Again, watch that the right shin stays perpendicular with the floor, and just very gently lean into the hips. Right femur pulling back, left femur pulling forward. Really finding an external rotation of that right thigh to try and work that right hip down. So feel how that right hip is higher than the left. So you just moved your shoulders. Yeah. So really think about this. So pull the femurs in a little bit. There we go. Then you got the space and work this right sit bone down. There you go. You feel that's a little more level? Good. So with you, less into the flexibility, more into the stability. Yeah. And that means this. See? So you know that if the shin moves, the hips are no longer level. So again, better to keep the form of the legs and not lose those connections. Then to lift the hands, so if it's available, the hands can come onto the thighs. Really think about the zipper of the belly. Maybe you can start to bring your torso back. Maybe those arms can come up. But really pull the right femur into the right hip, left femur into the left hip. So we're not just dropping down to the floor, but we're lifting up away from the floor at the same time. Good. Visualizing a block between your hands and lift that block higher. Make sure the shoulders are square. Let's just go 5 more breaths. Feel up your knee, all you do is put a double mat underneath your knee. When those 5 breaths are complete, hands come down, pull the hips back, step the right knee back, knees and feet are hips distance apart, tuck your toes and get a good grip on the toes. The better the grip on the toes and the more centered the heels, the easier balance is going to be. Let's step that left foot forward. Again, you have to take the time to walk that left shin, left foot forward until the shin is creating a 90-degree angle with the floor. And then watch the shin, make sure it doesn't move. Square your hips with the top of the mat. For some reason, the left hip wants to come forward, right hip wants to go back. We really have to pull the femur heads in as we see if we can walk the right knee back. Right toes are tucked. Watch the left shin, make sure the left shin doesn't move as you push into the right heel to try and straighten that right leg. Sitting your left foot down as you lift your right thigh up. Heel doesn't move in or out, fix your gaze. Again, more important to keep the shape of the leg to the hip opener than it is to come up. But if you can keep the legs, hands come to the thigh, zip your belly. If you can keep the legs, you can bring your torso back. And if you can still keep your legs, those arms can float up. Holding onto a block and lifting up. Always thinking left femur back, right femur forward, so that the hips are equal distance from the floor and equal distance from the front of the mat. Resting whenever you need to rest. Let's see if we've got 5 more breaths here. See if you can straighten out that back leg just a wee bit more. When those 5 breaths are complete, you want to watch the shin to make sure the shin doesn't move. As you bring your hands back down, pause. Pull the femur heads in, think neutral pelvis as much as possible. Shin doesn't move as you reach the right knee back as far as you can. That's what you're missing, Doug. Reach that right knee back without the shin moving. And then point the right foot, just like on the other side. We push into the top of the right foot, baby toe to big toe, and then we pull the top of the foot to us to lift the ankle. And then we can just lean into those hips. Press into your hands, pull the femur heads into the pelvis and really root the foot. And again, you can stay here with your hands on the blocks or zipping the pelvis, the hands can come up. Maybe you can start to bring it back, much more level. You know that, Marguerite, it's just that pulling it a bit. Maybe the hands can come up. Visualizing you're holding a block and you're lifting that block higher. So we lost the shin there just a little bit, so I'd say walk that knee a wee bit towards your foot. Just tuck that back to and walk it in a little bit, or walk this back a bit more. There you go. So hard. Yeah, I know it's a tricky one. It's good for you though. Again, let's just see if we've got 5 breaths left in us here. When those 5 breaths are complete, the hands come down, pull the hips back, take the left foot back. Let the knees be wide, let the toes touch, or you can bring the knees together. Bring the blocks in a little bit closer. If you have any shoulder stuff, you can always stack your fists and put it underneath your forehead, see what it feels. Otherwise, hands are on the block, arms are straight, fingers and palms are together. Hands are shoulders distance apart, and you just bring your ears between your arms. Not letting the head come down at this height, but almost feel like you're lifting up a little bit into the back of the skull, so the neck is long and the ears are with the shoulders. Think about lengthening the arms away from you. Think big, heavy weight on the shoulders and work your shoulders to the floor. Kim, hands a little bit wider, so they're as wide as your shoulder joint. Think ribs and belly lifting away from the floor. Slide the arms away from you. Think outer upper arms down towards the floor. Think inner lower arms down towards the floor. We'll bring them in a shoulder's distance. There we go. Try to push into the base of the thumb and the index and try and root into all 10 of your fingers. Again, we shouldn't feel our knees ever. So if you feel your knees coming up and out, we'll find a different solution. Let's see if we've got 5 more breaths left in us here. When those 5 breaths are complete, one hand comes under one shoulder, other hand comes under the other shoulder. Nice inhale to come up. Back into tabletop position. Hands on the blocks. Blocks are as wide as the mat. Push into the blocks. Find your fingers. Knees and feet are a hips distance apart. Knees are underneath the hip bones. And we tuck our toes, getting a good grip on our toes. Pressing the blocks into the floor. Step the right foot forward. Make sure the feet are still a hips distance apart. Find the right shin perpendicular with the floor. Keeping the right shin perpendicular, don't let it move. Walk the left knee back. Feel the hip bones, equal distance from the floor, equal distance from the top of the mat. Root into the hands, push into the left heel to lift up the left knee. Beautiful. Zip up your belly. Great. Sit your right butt down, lift your left thigh up. Take the left block in slightly. If you know you've got really good balance, you can bring the block right in towards the foot. If balance is a bit of an issue, you can keep it a little bit wider. Right hand comes to right hip. Push down into the left hand. Really think nice straight spine in line with the crown. Left shoulder blade comes forward. Right rib cage, right shoulder goes back. See if you can turn the gaze. Pelvis is level, so we're not letting that left hip drop, but we're lifting that left thigh away from the floor and working the right thigh to the floor. And if we're still here and we want to go further, we can reach that right arm up towards the sky. Really focusing on your breath. Let's take 5 more breaths here. When those 5 breaths are complete, bring your gaze down, bring your hand down, take your blocks wide again. Find that right shin, again, creating a 90-degree angle with the floor. Keep the 90-degree angle as you reach that left knee back. Press into the top of the left foot. Pull the toes to you to lift the ankle. Press into your hands, zip your belly, and see if you can just lift that left foot off the floor. Just see what you can do. To feel your knee, you can always double up the mat underneath the knee.
What did you tell me to do before I tried
Pull the femur heads into the pelvis. There you go. Push your hands into the block. Just doesn't make you heavy on that knee. So if you drop down, you're going to feel the knee. If you pull the femur heads in, and it's almost like you lift the pelvis and the thighs off the floor, you don't feel the knee at all. The more active the foot is, you don't feel the knee as well.
Okay.
Why do we have our arms wider on this one as opposed to the outer shoulder to outer
Just so
wrist?
there's space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because our feet are wider.
Okay.
So normally when we do our traditional sun salutation, the feet are closer, right?
Right. Okay.
Makes sense?
So should my foot be over there?
It's a hips distance, so it's perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not in line with your pubic bone like the other variation.
Right. Okay.
And then nice and slow, let's bring that foot down. Tuck the toes, make sure the shin doesn't move as you lift up the left knee by pushing into the heel. Beautiful. And then let that left knee come down. Step the right knee back. Knees and feet are hips distance apart. Toes are tucked under. Get a nice grip on the toes. You can rest whenever you need to rest. Push in the blocks, find your fingers. Feet are hips distance apart. Step that left foot forward. Left ankle, left knee, left hip in a straight line. Pull the femur heads in. Shin is perpendicular with the floor. Press down into the blocks. See if you can walk the right knee back. Tuck the right toes, and then press into that right heel to lift the right knee, but left shin doesn't move forward or back. Pull the femur shoulder heads into the pelvis. So right hip bone and left hip bone are equal distance from the floor, equal distance from the top of the mat. Take your right block in, same distance as you did on the left side, and try and push that block into the floor. Zip your pelvis, lift your ribs away from the floor. Maybe your hand comes onto the hip. Make sure the knee doesn't move in or out. So it's like you've got a block between your thighs that you're squeezing. And make sure the right hip doesn't drop to the floor. So you have to lift the right thigh up as you sit the left thigh down. And then maybe you can turn the gaze up over the shoulder. Maybe you can extend the arm towards the sky. Thinking about the right shoulder blade, right back ribs pushing forward. Left front ribs, left shoulder head, rooting back. Use your fingers, use your palms to get more out of the hands. So often people teach us without the blocks. It's just not as therapeutic on the wrists and the fingers. Good to do both, if you can. Very important that we continue to use blocks. We can always get stronger hands, which will support our wrists more and more and more. Let's see if we've got 5 more breaths here. When those 5 breaths are complete for you, you're going to bring your gaze down, your hand down. You're going to walk your blocks wide again. Square up the hips. Watch the left shin doesn't move forward or back, and then bring the right knee down. Good. We're going to point the right foot, push into the top of the foot, drag the toes to us as we lift the ankle up. Pull the femur heads into the pelvis, which you'll feel lifts the pelvis away from the floor. Push into your hands, and then see if you can lift that right foot towards your right butt. It may not happen today, just see what happens. Think of a block between your thighs. Push into those fingers and those palms, lift your chest, shoulder heads back. Right shoulder head back if you can, Crystal. There you go. Excellent. Active feet helps you keep it out of the knees. Whatever variation you're doing, you need to be right on the center of that right knee, not on the inside or outside. Heels should be in line with the butt. Good. Let's go 5 more breaths here. Really detoxifying the spirits too. So good for back pain. And knee pain. Then when those 5 breaths are complete, right foot comes down, tuck the right toes, lift up the right knee, and then right knee comes down, step the left knee back. Again, this thing's your neck and your shoulders, you can always stack your fists. Otherwise, blocks coming at medium height, hands on the blocks. This time, make sure the hands are shoulders distance apart, so outer wrist, outer elbow, outer shoulder in a straight line. Arms are straight, forehead can come towards the floor. Again, your knees can be together or apart. Knees together will be more intense of a stretch and more pressure on the knees. So listen to your body. Outer upper arms go down towards the floor. Inner lower arms go down towards the floor. We're pushing our hands into the blocks and sliding them away from us. Our shoulders are melting to the floor as our ribs are lifting away from the floor. And our armpits are sliding from back to front. Let the head go if you can, Catherine. Yeah, and if the head hits the floor on this one, it's just fine. Really finding your breath. Think about the upper arms karate chopping in as the elbows gently pull apart. Let's take 5 more breaths here. And then when those 5 breaths are complete, one hand under one shoulder, other hand under the other shoulder. Pushing ourselves back up into tabletop position.